Good afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. Maybe you're even joining me live, yay! On this day before Halloween, a couple days before El Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, and many ancestors celebrating festivities around the world. This is Deborah Roth, back with another edition of our Inner Goddess team. She's not a goddess this time. She's actually a folk saint that we're going to be focusing on today. So I welcome you into this very sacred space. I'm feeling very much connected with the ancestors right now. My Unitarian Church in New York City, the Fourth Universalist Society, offered up, and I was one of the co-leaders of a beautiful, what we call our Remembrance Sunday, yesterday. And people brought pictures, and when I do this in my women's circles, I invite everyone to bring not only pictures, but mementos, favorite food of beloved ancestors or people who have died recently in your life. It doesn't have to just be ancestors. So we're in a very liminal time, and if you go back and look at my Inner Goddess team videos since I started doing them in 2020, you'll see all kinds of variations of how I've uplifted this very powerful, or deepened, maybe since it's such deep energy right now, how I've talked about these celebrations around the world. I won't go into all of them today. I'll put some of the links in my YouTube description. If you are not subscribed there, please do that. If you're watching me on Facebook or Instagram, yay, you can go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. It should be up there by Halloween evening. And please, I'd love to hear, I always forget to say this, any, and I don't remember how I found out about her. It might actually have been by one of the subscribers suggesting something about Santa Muerte, who we're going to be talking about. So please, I'd love your comments, your ideas for other goddesses / saints / amazing women in history. We've done some of those too. But this week, it's a little bit different. Santa Muerte is actually, she's a blending of Catholicism and indigenous beliefs after the Spaniards conquered Mexico in like the 15th, 16th century, I think. And she's actually the devotees, the followers of Santa Muerte, are considered the fastest growing religion in the Northern Hemisphere, which is kind of amazing. She's been featured on, which I never watched, but a lot of people I know did, Breaking Bad, and she's had this reputation as being just connected with drug traffickers and criminals and that kind of thing. Yes, and that may be so. However, as her popularity has grown, she's really more considered, I think, to be the patron saint of the dispossessed, of migrants, illegal or undocumented aliens, immigrants, and people that don't have as much money, that don't have, that are considered marginalized populations, and I found just some wonderful readings and articles about her. One of them talks about a man who's been offering services, a temple for for the followers of Santa Muerte. And he talks about the kind of the people that he does it. It's not just obviously for El Dia de los Muertos, but she appears more and more apparently. I'll show you what she looks like. She appears more and more apparently in celebrations on November 1st and 2nd, which are the traditional ancestor honoring holy days in Mexico. Featured in Coco, the Pixar or Disney movie that I've seen a couple times. I think I need to see it again this time of year. But it's a beautiful celebration, a beautiful honoring of our loved ones. And again, look at some of my older from past years to get all these different celebrations of ancestor celebrations that happen around the world. This is one image of her. She's pictured with a skeleton. A lot of the Day of the Dead symbolism is our skeletons, candy skeletons, and they're put on gravestones, and people have picnics on the gravestones on the Day of the Dead, and often carrying a sickle or a scythe, I guess is another name for it. But sometimes she's shown as a bride. Other times she's just shown with long robes, and her followers. It's believed that she offers healing and protection and a safe journey to the afterlife. So if any of those are things that you are in need of right now, you may want to call on her. And she's, so what was I going to say? Oh, so her followers believe that if you make loving offerings and pledges to her, and you saw in some of those pictures, which might be flowers or candles, cigarettes even. The one picture that I saw of her, the skeleton has a cigarette in her mouth. Beer, tequila, apples, just any kind of offerings while you're requesting whatever protection you need. Again, one of the articles highlighted a single mother who was very pregnant and asked for protection for a safe delivery. Likewise, and I don't want to forget some of the other places that she shows up. People ask her for economic prosperity, less violent crime. So that's kind of antithesis to the drug trafficking association she has. And they weave in, her followers weave in some of the very specific practices of Catholicism. They go on pilgrimages to her temples, to her shrines. They say rosaries in her name. The Catholic Church does not like that. They have condemned the worship of her. However, she continues to grow in popularity. And she's some of the other names which I thought are very revealing about how she's portrayed. Señora de las Sombras, Lady of the Shadows, La Huesuda, Bony Lady, or the Bone Lady, La Niña Bonita, the pretty girl, La Madrina, the Godmother, and probably one of the most reverent ones is La Santísima Muerte, La Santísima Muerte, the most holy death. So there's a real respect, and boy, our country, the U.S., is not so great at celebrating and being able to hold people in that space. And this is the time of year in traditions all over the world when it is felt that the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest. It's a very liminal time. So play with this, dance with her if you have if you have any sort of Mexican or Spanish heritage. I never want to co-opt any of these. Only do this if this feels right and resonates with you. She sounds like, and some of her followers have said, rather than the association with, some of the more criminal parts of society, that she's actually, where was one of the ones that she, let's see if I can find it, that she really offers a place to come for solace. And this one kind of unofficial priest of Santa Muerte and Guadalupe, I think he was, talks about the fact that he leads prayers for street children, for addicts, for convicts, single mothers, the unemployed, and the disabled. There was a wonderful piece that I read too about someone who'd been a migrant worker alongside undocumented workers who were trans and who were LGBTQ plus, and that's kind of a big combination of the types of populations, the marginalized populations that Santa Muerte serves, if you will. and that when he visited them in their places, that they all had altars to Santa Muerte. So at this point, they are, oh, this was one that I thought was fascinating. I mentioned that she's increasingly incorporated into El Dia de los Muertos celebrations in Mexico. And it's thought that she actually may have come from both El Dia de los Muertos, but also Santa Muerte herself, come from an Aztec goddess who presented over a festival of death in August, not even, this time of year, whose name was, see if I can get the Aztec name right, Mictacasihuatl. I'll put her name in the description, the YouTube description too. So I invite you to be in this deep, deep space that we're in right now. We are in the Scorpio season. We are in this moment in the wheel of the year when in this liminal space, as I said, where the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest. So I invite you to take in that energy. And I'll sing for you a chant that I've sung a couple different chants around this time of year, and some of my other Inner Goddess team ones that you'll hear if you go. But this one always speaks to me as a very deep one. So I leave you with this. It's the blood of the ancients that flows through our veins, and the forms change, but the circle of life remains. It's the blood of the ancients that flows through our veins, and the forms change, but the circle of life remains. So, go forth, celebrate however you're going to celebrate the Day of the Dead, Halloween. I have some suggestions in my latest blog at the Wellness Universe. I'll try and remember to post that link also. And thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you back here next week. Happy deep Scorpio, Halloween, Samhain, Day of the Dead time. Bye for now.